Hi, my name is Brooke Shiloh, and today in my presentation I'll be talking about the concept known as pathos. Pathos is known as an emotional appeal out of the three persuasive appeals. Pathos is persuading by appealing to one's emotions by creating an emotional response such as happiness or sadness. An example of pathos can be seen through language as a person can go through many different emotions. Why and how would you expect for language to be seen, or probably thinking, how can you see language? You can always see language as somebody speaking a certain tone of voice and also by their body language. Also, language is ultimately what draws out their feelings, and so it's showing basically what that person's emotions are exactly right now, whether they're happy, sad, mad, angry. Growing up as a little girl that was obsessed with Barbie dolls, I've experienced many times using pathos to interact with my mom in order to give me the Barbie doll I wanted at the time. As a 10-year-old, I would behave by throwing a tantrum anytime I got told no by my mom to getting a new doll. I would use pathos as a skill when it came to times like this by showing my mother persuasive Barbie doll advertisement commercials. Also, by appealing to emotion when making actions of having a meltdown, crying in the stores. Overall, this would lead my mom to invoke sympathy for me when in reality it was allowing me to get another Barbie doll that would create my happiness. So I'm going to give an overall description of what I seen, heard, thought, and felt during this observable experience. What I seen was obviously a younger girl throwing a fit in the store, any store really, when it came to not getting the Barbie that she wanted. What I heard during the moment as a 10-year-old was the Barbie doll calling my name every time I wanted a new one. I thought everything I was doing was okay when really it wasn't, because it was more manipulating my mom into getting what I wanted through the use of persuasion, which is pathos. Lastly, I felt the joy that Barbie brought me because I would do anything to get the Barbie just because it created my happiness at the end of the day. Now that I've discussed the experience, I will be making some inferences. Some inferences that took place during this time were the uncalled for actions of crying and throwing a fit when getting told no to getting another doll. In addition, showing persuasion Barbie doll advertisement commercials to convince my mom to get me a doll was also unnecessary. Overall, I've learned that during this experience, I was a young child who was very spoiled and would do anything to get a Barbie. Lastly, realizing the emotions I used during this time/experience took place as a role of manipulation by letting these emotions turn into bad habits, which resulted in the outcome I wanted as a little child. Now that I have made some inferences, I will discuss how these inferences can be transferred into other situations. For example, imagine calling into work at the last minute for the reasoning of wanting to hang out with your friends. Even though that is the reasoning of you calling into work, many people nowadays make up last-minute excuses to tell their bosses, such as a family emergency, when in reality, the family emergency isn't happening, but the real thing, on the other hand, is they're hanging out with their friends. This then tends to show an emotional appeal to a lie that has been made up. This again reveals that you're expressing emotions towards the made-up lie to manipulate the fact that the reason you're calling into work is to hang out with your friends. Now, after talking about both situations from a work perspective and from my own personal experience, this just goes to show that the use of persuasion can also tie in with the role of manipulation towards getting an outcome that you want. And both of these situations, both things had the role of manipulation taking place due to the outcome of somebody, for example, wanting to call into work just to hang out with their friends, and then on the other hand, with my experience, the fact that I just wanted the doll that I wanted. So how will I use theory/inferences that were discussed? I will use the theory as a guide when it comes to different situations that take place in life, of course. In addition, use the inferences I've made in my past experience as a lesson on what not to do for these future situations that I'm going to encounter in life. In conclusion, our text helps create new meaning towards the concept known as pathos, as it explains and breaks down how effective this rhetorical device really is. So what? How might we act differently in light of this discussion? We might act differently in light of this discussion by using pathos more through not only our experiences/situations, but also with other important things in life, such as school. I mentioned school because pathos really helps when it comes to a lot of different school things, such as papers, arguments, presentations, all of that. Pathos is a big use with helping with because it's such a strategic rhetorical device that helps your audience with understanding you and even understanding yourself. So because of that, we're able to use it more after speaking about it in this discussion.